What's up, guys? It's Carrington, and today you guys are catching me in this black on black 2023 Mercedes AMG GT63S sedan. A lot of words, but this is a very, very nice example with less than 2,000 miles and a very, very safe color combination, black on black with gray contrasted stitching. This car is for those who enjoy performance driving, who want to go fast, but who still like a classy grown-up vibe about them. This car handles extremely well. This is not built on any other platform but AMG, so there's no other like non-AMG basis to this. It's not based off of an E-Class and S-Class, and so AMG did very, very well when it comes to the dynamics of this car, and you can immediately tell that in the handling. It's a heavy car. It's a long, big car, but because of the rear wheel steering and the sharp steering ratio, this car feels so much lighter than it actually is to drive. Now, suspension is one of the things that you guys will notice immediately. This isn't an S63 AMG where the ride is going to be a little bit more smooth. As you guys can tell, it's a little bit more jarring and a little bit more hardcore than other Mercedes products, but it's certainly not to the level of maybe AMG GT Coupe or like the Black Series products. This interior is filled with a lot of nice materials. You got Alcantara on the headliner as well as on the seat as well. We have black leather. I don't know if it's Nappa, but it looks like Nappa leather. The interior is very, very well put together, and there's a lot of technological aspects, especially with the screen, that does not look cheap and tacky like the newer Mercedes products do, in my opinion. I really enjoy how this has kind of like almost an iDrive BMW type of screen. Now, obviously you guys have different driving modes. You can put it in manual. You can turn the exhaust on or off. You can raise the rear spoiler as well. This is an all-wheel drive car, so it's also going to be a lot more safe and predictable, you could say, than, let's say, the AMG GT two-door, which is two doors, obviously, a lot shorter in the wheelbase, and rear-wheel drive only, at least for the previous generations. Now they're all-wheel drive, but this car isn't going to give you the tail happiness as the two-door might. But what you lack in the playfulness from a rear-wheel drive car, you actually gain in absolute precision and confidence and grip. And this car has all of those. Let's talk about the transmission. This has a 9-speed MCT, I think is what they call it, which is essentially an automatic, but instead of a torque converter, it uses a wet clutch. And the shifts are instantaneous. Downshifts are also very, very instant as well. Maybe not on the level of like a PDK or McLaren or Ferrari transmission, but it is like right up there. Even better in terms of the responsiveness than you would get in like a ZF 8-speed. However, I do think that the ZF can be a little bit more engaging, as you have in the Alfa Romeo Giulia, that fuel cut where it kind of kicks you a little bit like you would get in a Ferrari or Lamborghini, where this doesn't have that at all. It's a very smooth shift. Again, Mercedes, smooth, grown up. Let's talk about the competition for this car. It would be the Porsche Panamera, the BMW M8 competition with the Grand Coupe styling, and it would also be the Audi RS7. The BMW, when we're talking about the vibe of a car, BMWs still kind of give off this younger male vibe, which might not be to everybody's liking. Audi is a little bit more grown up, but it doesn't have the prestige that a Mercedes badge might. And the only thing that would probably beat this in terms of the prestige would maybe be the Porsche Panamera, because Porsches, I would just say, they're just slightly above Mercedes in their whole brand perception to begin with. And so the Panamera might be slightly more sporty, slightly more agile. I haven't driven one to find out, But Mercedes is a little bit more subdued in terms of what the brand appeals to, who the brand appeals to, than Porsche. Porsche's a little bit more towards the flashy flair side of things. Mercedes is more conservative. So factor that in when you're purchasing a big, essentially four-door coupe like this. Now we're going to see what the GT63S is like when you're just in comfort mode, just driving it nice and chill, because this car is not going to be a car that you're going to drive it at 10/10 all the time. It's a Mercedes, it's a bigger vehicle, it has plenty of luxuries, so the whole point is that you have this dual personality aspect of the vehicle. Again, the ride immediately is definitely much more stiff than any S-Class or E-Class or anything like that. And if you want something that handles and rides smoother, they have products for you, like the S63 AMG. This car is if you want that next step up in the rawness, without being too raw and without taking away from the luxury aspect. Because again, there's more products for that in the Mercedes lineup with the Black Series products. This car has a Burmester stereo, which obviously is going to be very high quality. And obviously with the ambient lighting, it's almost like a magical place to be at night, especially in these Mercedes products. You do hear the slightest bit of like wind noise and things like that, but again, you have to understand what this vehicle is. It is not meant to be a full-on luxury car. But again, with the rear-wheel steering, especially if you're just cruising around, this car is very easy to place on the road, and it doesn't feel too big or too daunting to drive. And that again goes to the rear-wheel steering and the really sharp steering ratio in this vehicle, which I believe is electronic, whereas in the coupe it's hydraulic. However, while you don't get very much like MVH feel to it, you do get a good weighting to the wheel. Better, I would say, than a lot of BMWs and how they steer. Yeah, this car is really sick. It's a vibe. It's for those who kind of have more of a presence to them, I would say. Mercedes, again, has more drivers focused packages for those who want that, like in the C63 and the AMG GT. It's just a big, chill, luxury barge that can also really be capable when you're putting it through its paces. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Till next time.